Hello and welcome back to the A to Z of Football podcast. We're with your hosts. I'm Alex the A. I'm with Zach the
Z.
Perfect. And we are back for yet another episode. And we're feeling good, not only because football's back and things are happening in the Premier League, but, life is slowly starting to return back to sort of normality. For one, I'm a very happy chappy at the moment, so to speak. I've got a haircut. Oh, I tell you what.
I've got mine tomorrow. You only have to put.
You've got yours tomorrow
for a little bit more.
You see, this is all good because now we're all set for a happy podcast. We're just buzzing because I'm telling you, hair when you get a nice little fade on the side and you get a bit off the top. Oh, it's glorious. It's glorious.
Alex, the bigger question though: have you been to the pub?
Oh, I think the pub's been to me, if anything, Zachary. Literally. Yeah, no, I've been a couple of times. I have to admit, I've had a couple of pints here and there. It's been very nice. It's been very, very nice.
Very nice.
Have you been to the pub?
I have. I've been there a few times now. Was a little bit worried to start off with, but everything's in place for it to be nice and safe. So you can still enjoy a good. Honestly, beer from on draft is better than anything else. I can't drink out of a can anymore.
No, honestly, I got used to drinking out of cans and bottles. As soon as you get that first draft pint,
yeah, it was good.
It's unbelievable.
So yes, things are getting back to normal. Football is going faster than ever before. It's been games after games. We must admit to you lot that we have fallen a little bit behind because there was a complete onslaught of games.
Because we've been at the pub, basically.
Because we've been at the pub. The games have got a little bit ahead of us, so we're not going to go through all the results that have happened in the past week or so, but we're going to pick out a few key ones and have a little chat about them. Also, we're going to have a good discussion about the Champions League and where that will finish up. Obviously, we've talked about this previously before, but this is getting close. Final 3 games now, and still is all to play for. And of course, with Norwich being relegated, we are going to see what other 2 teams will be joining them in the Championship next season. Following on from that, busy podcast this week, Alex.
Busy.
We are going to pick out a few key fixtures coming up in the next week or so that are key to these Champions League and relegation places. And we'll have a little chat about England number 1, because Pickford's not doing great at the moment. And
not at the top of his game.
Nick Pope and Henderson are right on his heels. So we're going to have lots of discussion, lots to talk about that today. But let's quickly go through the key results. Well, let's not say key results. Let's say shocking results that we've seen over the past week. First game that comes straight to my mind is Sheffield United 3, Tottenham Hotspur 1. I'll chuck in another Sheffield United result. Sheffield United 3, Chelsea 0. Alex, what's happening? When did Sheffield United get this good?
So this is funny because obviously we discussed on the last couple of podcasts how poor Sheffield United were since coming back. They obviously watch us. I mean, it's clear that the Sheffield United squad obviously listened to us because we gave them the motivation to push on. So any Sheffield United fans out there, no worries, you're welcome. No, look, Sheffield. I mean, obviously we'll get into how Tottenham and Chelsea play, but you can't take away anything from Sheffield United. They've bounced back brilliantly. They've had some very tough fixtures and they just have that edge again that they're always the most energetic on the field at the moment. They're always getting to the second balls. The overlapping centre backs is working again. And I really thought that after those first couple of games, it was a sign that teams had figured them out and they could no longer play the way they wanted to play. But obviously, Wilder's done brilliant work behind the scenes at re-drilling them, doing the basics perfectly, and then going on from there. I mean, Lincoln Egan, don't get me started on Egan. His finish against Burnley was like prime R9. It was lovely. Outside of the boot for a central defender from Ireland. Like, give it a rest.
How did Sheffield United do against Burnley? It was a draw, wasn't it?
It was a 1-1 draw. So both teams...
Burnley getting the points there, doing better than Spurs and Chelsea. That's your little boost for this.
Yeah, well, there you go. That's 2 teams both playing very well. Moving on to the actual performances of both both, and also congratulations to David McGoldrick as well. Hasn't got a Premier League goal today, and
and scored
suddenly
2
managed
against
to
Chelsea. Yeah.
score 2 against Chelsea. So big up to him.
Even though we can say Sheffield United did play well, and they did play well, let's look at how poor Tottenham and Chelsea were in those games. Because I watched it, and I've watched every Tottenham game this past week or so. It's been difficult. It's been tough watching. Sheffield United, it was poor, like really bad, really bad. I don't even have anything more to add to that.
It was just it was like you. The thing, it was almost like you was trying to play a similar way. It was just they were doing it to just a different level. That they was. It felt like they just wanted it more, and it's such a. I feel like I always feel weird saying like that. It's a very cliche saying, isn't it? Because you can always say they wanted it more after they've won quite comfortably, but it did just feel like they were more energized. Like as I said, they're getting to every second ball. They're making you like they're running you around the park. Lots of possession. It's baffling what I saw, to be honest, because I think it is. I mean, it's a question of Mourinho, isn't it? Because that style of play, whether Tottenham fans like it or not, and I mean, as we saw yesterday, it can be successful. Yeah, if they implement it right, it can be successful. But it's ones that Tottenham fans will have to get used to, because obviously you've had Pochettino, who, you know, you can argue about his success, but what you can't deny is that at points he played unbelievable football and more often than not blew teams like Sheffield United away.
So the way I try to look at it in a more positive direction for Spurs at the moment is the fact that this is a Mourinho style with Pochettino's team. All those players are Pochettino's team, so it's difficult to sort of mould the style Mourinho wants with a team that's so set up for a Pochettino style of play. But again, though, it does work. Honestly, 2-1 against Arsenal yesterday, brilliant result. I was in more shock than in happiness, I think, just because of how poor we've been. But that's another result that's happened this week. Chelsea, I think Chelsea have been doing okay. But when their game against Sheffield United, it was Frank Lampard wasn't happy, was he?
No, he wasn't. But you know what's funny? Like, I mean, I'm sure everyone's seen the memes and stuff so far. But you know, ever since they've got that free, they've changed their shirt to that free logo. They've either scored or conceded free in every game.
I put that on my Facebook story. I said 3's Chelsea's magic number.
Oh, guys, you can't write that sort of stuff. They get a new shirt sponsor. There's suddenly every every game they either conceded.
They're gonna hate it. They're gonna hate it.
Oh, I bet they are. But it is just it's very, very amusing. Chelsea. They're such an indifferent team at the moment, aren't they? Because like 1 week, I mean, to be fair, the fixtures have been kind to them, but then again, they beat Man City and then beat Watford and who else they beat? Crystal Palace. That was a very close game.
That was a good game.
But then also they're losing to West Ham and getting smashed by Sheffield United. So it's whether Frank Lampard is experienced enough yet to string a good set of results together in a pressurized period of time, because now they were almost shoo-ins for the. I mean, obviously they weren't definites, but they were almost shoo-ins for top 4. Now, who knows? Who knows what could happen with them? Because if Man United win tonight, they're suddenly overtaken by Manchester United. They're down to 4th, and we'll come on to, I'm sure, speak about Leicester, but all of a sudden it gets so tight, and they're only a point above Leicester. And I feel like this whole season has revolved around all these signings that they're making. You know, Werner, Ziyech, possibly Havertz, etc. I mean, we've talked about Chelsea signings and possible signings. This whole season revolves around them getting Champions League.
Yeah.
And if they don't with those signings, then that will be a real failure. Yeah. It really would.
I mean, we should also add that we've talked a little bit over the podcast, sort of top 4. That has to be the top 4 Champions League now, because today Man City won their appeal. And they're staying in the Champions League, so 5th place isn't the Champions League spot like we speculated it might be. Man City have got through the courts and they'll be back in the Champions League next season, which I'm not that opinionated on.
It's one of those things, isn't it? Where I mean, as from an outsider, just as a basic football fan, we're not basic. We're very highly trained
We're
and
very
opinionated.
intelligent. What did you mean?
Intelligent. Sorry, not basic at all. But as football fans looking in, especially not Man City fans as well, I think it's really hard to judge. Just because I think so much happens behind the scenes in a case like that and a trial like that, etc. That you can't really make a case for it being fair or unfair. I guess you have to look at what comes out in the next few weeks or whatever and make your decisions based on that. But at the moment, we just have to accept that it's happened and we just move on, don't we?
Yeah. Talking about Man City though, they suffered one of the shock results of the past week. They lost 1-0 to Southampton after thrashing the newly crowned champions 4-0.
Well, so this sums up Man City's season, doesn't it? It really does. They one week can be blistering and play the best attacking football you've ever seen. The next, lose to Southampton 1-0. It was just bad because I watched most of that game as well. It was one of the BBC games, and yes, they had a lot of possession, but they created some good chances. But at the same time, you could argue that Southampton deserved the win because they got their goal. They played football where they needed to play football. They defended really well when they defended well, and then you have to weigh up the fact that they got the goal and sat on it, and whether you like it or not, they won the game and played really well. So
Hasenhüttl, the Southampton manager, called it the highlight of his career so far.
Wow, I didn't realise that.
Yeah, no, he said it was
fair play to him. He's done a very good job because remember, I think I saw a stat and it was, earlier in the season, I think it was October, November time. I think Southampton lost 9-0 to Leicester.
Yeah,
which was just it sent shockwave through the Premier League because not even a team like Man City or Liverpool, like Leicester of all teams, and then Southampton, also a pretty established Premier League team as well, not like a Norwich but but since then, I think Southampton, if they win tonight or draw tonight, I think it is, will have the same points tally as Leicester, who are still fourth. So if you look at it in that way, like that result could have been a massive deflator for their season, like losing 9-0 at home against Leicester. But completely fair play to Hasenhüttl. He's taken it as a positive, as a learning curve. He's like, right, lads, this isn't gonna happen anymore, and he's done a great job.
I definitely think that was the sort of the curve where they started picking up form. I think a lot of people wrote them off after that loss. I think
I did.
Naturally would. Yeah, I think I did as well. But they've now got to a point where they're not really in the fight for Europe, but they're not that many points behind likes of Everton, Burnley. They're in there. They're in and around there, and to be able to go from that to a point of losing 9-0 to a team which isn't a team that would normally beat you 9-0, to being in that sort of position, I really have to take my hats off to them. And if they want to beat Man City 1-0, they can do that all day. I don't mind. I quite happily sit and watch that. It was a brilliant goal as well from I don't know how many yards I have.
Yeah, it was fantastic. I think like 35, 40, wasn't it? Yeah. Another guy that got his first Premier League goal of the season as well. So well done to Che Adams.
Let's move on then, Alex, and we can sort of talk about the results that have happened this week with our discussion on this. The top four then, obviously really close at the moment. We've got Chelsea in there still, Leicester, Man United. I think it's fair to say that for the Europa League, Wolves, Spurs, and Arsenal there. That's what they're fighting for now. So if we just focus on those first three teams. Chelsea, they've got 3 games left, including a FA Cup semi-final, which we won't talk about too much. But they've got Norwich, Liverpool, and Wolves at their last 3 fixtures. How many points do you think they can pick up from that?
Norwich, Liverpool, and Wolves. So I think it's fair to say that Norwich, we've been saying it since they've come back, they just have been atrocious. Losing 4-0 at home to West Ham, who are also a relegation struggling team. Like, have a bit of pride. Like, seriously, like, as a Norwich, like we sort of look at it as they're almost like a joke team now. But if you're a Norwich fan, like, what must you be thinking? Losing 4-0 at home to West Ham, going down like that. It's just an awful, awful way to go down, and it's just almost surrendering and just saying, "Yeah, we're not good enough." And like, I'd be fuming if I was Norwich because the amount of times they come up, come down, come up, come down. Like, it doesn't really feel like they made the most of the opportunity. So just yeah. So obviously that was just a quick one.
I think that's the more frustrating thing about Norwich
Yeah.
as well, isn't it? Because when they actually do turn up, we see it against Man United in the FA Cup that they gave them a good game. They went on a loss.
They can be great.
Yeah,
But that's a 1 in 10
they have
game,
it
isn't
in
it?
them. But then Chelsea, obviously, they've been up and down past few fixtures. Obviously, they picked up points against Crystal Palace, but it was a bit hit or miss at times. And obviously, we dropped points against like West Ham, Sheffield United. Is this going to be another banana skin game for them, Norwich?
As much as I'd like to back the Canaries, I think we've got to be realistic and just say Chelsea will have too much quality for them. Yes, obviously they had an awful game last time out against Sheffield United. However, look, they've still got some class players up front. I think Pulisic is brilliant. I think it's a perfect chance for Abraham to get back on the score sheet. Willian, I think there is just too much quality up top, and against a defense like Norwich, they're always going to score goals. And it might not be as easy as they think. Maybe they still haven't quite adjusted back to what they know they can do. But I realistically think you can't ask for a better game to get you back on track.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. I think Norwich will have sort of accepted their fate, and Chelsea will be able to get back on track and get the wheels turning again.
I'm saying like a 4-0.
Yeah,
like 4-0, 4-1.
I'm thinking 3-0, something. A comfortable win for the Blues. Liverpool is in the next game though, tricky, but then Liverpool have won the league, and we've seen Chelsea beat the big teams this season.
All I'm saying is that Burnley managed to get a point at Anfield, and so basically what I'm taking from that is basically Burnley should be winning the league or thereabouts next season, challenging for titles, etc. But we'll talk about that for a different podcast. No, I mean Liverpool, they have looked really defensively dodgy since they've come back. Yes, they won against Brighton, Aston Villa as well.
Yeah,
obviously had that awful loss against Man City and also drawn to Burnley. But in those two wins, in amongst those two wins, it's the really questionable defending in there. Obviously they're still getting pissed every night because I can't really think of another reason why. But I actually think it's got to be one of the best times to play Liverpool because they're clearly not at it the way they were prior to winning the title. They're clearly I don't know, the mentality isn't quite there, or they don't really care about the records, etc. But I think this is going to be a really great game.
Yeah,
I really do.
I agree. I think it will be close because I think they're both teams of good quality. I think Chelsea have it all to fight for, and they won't want to slip away. They hate to do that. Like you say, though, it is the best time to be playing Liverpool. I don't know if they want this record or not, Liverpool. I watch them and I go, yeah, they're winning. They're not playing badly necessarily. Obviously, they lost to Man City quite badly, but Man City are ruthless at times, which we have discussed quite a bit. But I just don't see that, let's get more than 100 point stats. Come on. I just think they're happy that they've got the league, and I don't know if I necessarily blame them for that, to be honest.
No, you can't, obviously. But at the same time, if I was a Liverpool fan, it's not like you're going to win it on the last day sort of thing. If you've already won it, you might as well. It's hard to say, obviously, as a fan, but it is clear from their defending that they're not at it. They're not at it. Whether that's who knows what it's up to, but they're definitely not at the same pace as they were before they won the title. And you might as well go for records and etc. because you've got nothing else to play for. They're not in any FA Cup or anything like that. So what's to lose, really?
Yeah, I agree. But it will be a tricky game for Chelsea. But I think they could pick up a point here potentially. Maybe even win it. I don't know if I want to say they'll win it. I think Liverpool are really, really still.
I think it'll be tight, but I think Liverpool will probably sneak it 2-1. I'd say.
Yeah, I'll go for a draw. I'll go for a 1-1.
Okay.
And obviously Wolves is their final fixture. There. That is a tricky game for Chelsea. Wolves will be trying to secure 6th spot, no doubt. I don't know if I can call that.
Again, Wolves have had a bit of indifferent time since we last chatted. They lost the 2 games in a row to Arsenal at home, which is pretty poor result, although Arsenal played very well that day. And then also Sheffield United away, where they lost in that last minute. So, but then obviously got back to a very comfortable win against Everton yesterday. So
yeah,
they're still firmly in the Europa League spots. I think now that they know Champions League is definitely not on the table. Well, not definitely not. They're only 3 points behind Man United, but they have a game in hand, and I can't really see that happening. But yeah, it all depends on Big Adama Traore, whether he decides to turn out, doesn't it? He's such a key figure for them, like, because I think the team sort of revolves around how he plays. If he's playing well, then they're all so full of confidence. But if he's not,
Traore is the key for sure. I mean, he missed an open goal yesterday, but I won't hold that to him.
No, that was pretty shocking, I have to say.
But then, I mean, I think everyone was sort of missing stuff yesterday. From North London derby, there were shots hitting crossbars.
Oh yeah, it was woeful finishing. Well, not woeful, but poor.
Good enough to win though. Sorry. Yes, Chelsea Wolves. It's difficult. Wolves have kind of been up and down as well. I kind of get sort of similar vibes from both teams. Chelsea obviously losing the games.
Yeah.
You'd expect them to lose. Wolves winning. Losing against. Maybe not teams you would expect them to beat, but teams you'd probably bet for. You know, Arsenal haven't been at their best. Sheffield United obviously beat Tottenham, but still, you know, definitely beatable. So they've lost points there. I feel like this one's got like a big scoring draw all over it, like a 2-2.
2-2, yeah. I think a 2-2 sounds a good shout. Like, you know, Jimenez continues to score goals. Obviously, as I say, I think Pulisic is brilliant and could be a really big player for Chelsea. So yeah, I'm gonna back you there. I'm gonna say 2-2.
So with that, now going through their fixtures, how many points do you think Chelsea will pick up?
I think they're getting. I think they're getting 4.
Wow. Okay.
Mm.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, that's tricky, isn't it?
What are you saying 4 as well? You're going to say 6?
I think they can beat Norwich and Wolves. I think they'll draw. I'll give them 7.
Wow, 7. Interesting.
I'll put a bit of faith in them, but I feel like Man United are going to be better anyway. But we'll get onto that. Leicester, they've got the hardest.
They've got an incredibly tough run.
Sheffield United, Spurs, and Man United. Man United being the final game of the season for them. That is the decider for sure. Let's start off with the Sheffield United game. Though Sheffield United have really bounced back. We've talked about it a little bit already this afternoon. And Leicester are struggling. I don't know why, but Leicester aren't quite what they were. What are they?
They're really not. The last 5 games, only 1 win, 2 losses, 2 draws. The result yesterday, as we're talking, probably a bit later by the time this goes out, the 4-1 loss to Bournemouth was awful, man. Like being 1-0 up in the first half to Bournemouth, who are in the worst form of their lives and plummeting for the drop, and then losing 4-1. And not only that, letting Dominic Solanke scored 2.
Yes,
Dominic Solanke scored 2 goals.
After watching those highlights, though, Leicester, they completely imploded. They
did.
Schmeichel mistake, another Schmeichel mistake.
The red card for
the red card,
as well. Yeah,
it was just a mess. And you know, not taking anything away from Bournemouth, but you would think Leicester would have comfortably walked through that.
Yeah.
But yeah, so these next 3 games are really crucial for Leicester. But I think they're going to struggle. You know, I think Sheffield United are no easy task, and I think they'll only pick up 1 point in this game.
Yeah, I agree. I think Sheffield United back on form. You know, 3 wins in the last 4, looking really strong, aren't they? Again, back to their old selves, and I'm saying like a 1-1, something along those lines, or maybe even a 0-0. But they look so much more defensively compact in the last few games.
We've seen Leicester get sort of 0-0, 1-1, drew against Arsenal, drew against Brighton. They're quite boring games. They're not. There's no like goal flying everywhere, which is what you'd expect from Leicester. I think they could pick up points against Spurs though, and obviously I don't want to say that as a Spurs fan, but obviously Spurs have not been consistent at all, and I think with Leicester's sort of quick, fast-paced football they play to our defensive Mourinho style, I don't know whether we'll get overrun or not, and I think it could be. It's a really tricky game to call again. I don't know.
It's another one which like all three results sort of feel equal. Like they all feel like on any given day, each one could happen, and you wouldn't be surprised. Like, I think two teams not full of confidence. Obviously, Spurs off the back of the North London win could be have a spring in their step, and depending what happens in their next game as well. I feel like it's going to be another draw. I feel like it's going to be another low-scoring draw, and another 1-1. Unfortunately.
Yeah. I'm gonna. It's tricky. I'm gonna go for another draw as well. Yeah. I am. Yeah. Obviously, Man United last game of the season. This is pinnacle, isn't it?
This could be massive. Like, personally, I reckon by the last game of the season, I think Man United will probably be safe in the top four. But obviously, I mean, who knows how that's going to go down? But yeah, it's massive, huge. Like it could just be almost like just a playoff for who gets fourth place, essentially.
Yeah.
I just think United have been so impressive, haven't they? So like Pogba and Fernandes in the middle, just linking up perfectly all the time. Mason Greenwood, flipping out. Like, how good is he going to be in the future?
Yeah, absolutely.
I just think United will probably have too much for them. They've looked brilliant. They have, and I'm going to say I'm going to say 3-1 United. 3-1 United.
Yeah, I think Man United are incredible, unstoppable at the moment. I don't think they'll pick up points here. I think Man United will go on and win this. Maybe not comfortably. They'll fight for everything. I think both teams really will. But I think Man United just have that little edge at the moment. Which I hate to say because I like Leicester.
Yeah.
But, so with that, how many points, Alex?
So unfortunately, I only think they're going to get 2.
Yeah, I only think they're going to get 2 as well. Yeah, they're not going to pick up much. I think they're going to fall away. I think Champions League might suddenly become out of their reach, which is surprising because Leicester have been there consistently all season.
I mean, since at the start of lockdown, everyone was like, "Oh, they're a shoo-in. It's just who gets fourth." But now suddenly we're predicting that they're going to drop out, which is surprising, obviously.
Man United have got a game in hand. Southampton today, Crystal Palace, West Ham, and of course Leicester, which we've just discussed, so we won't worry about that one. So Southampton, Crystal Palace, West Ham, easier games, isn't this, for Man United?
I've got to say, I mean, obviously it's easy. I mean, I'm sure most people say this given their current form, but I can't. I'm sure you'd agree. I can't see them getting any less than 12. I can't see them getting any less than full points from those 4 games. Like, you see, you've got Southampton, mid-table team. Yeah, have been very good recently, but still not. Well, not world beaters, not getting up to that level yet. West Ham, but yes, they've had a couple good results here and there, but obviously still a relegation candidate, and defending's been woeful at times. Crystal Palace on an awful run of form. I think they've lost 5 games in a row. Yes, 5 games in a row they've lost now.
They only won their first game back, which was
against Bournemouth, and that. Playing United is the last team you want to play when you're in such bad form and they're in such fantastic form. And as we've already, briefly touched on, Leicester, I feel won't have enough to beat them. So I'm just going to say I think they're going to get full. Yeah, I can't speak. Full points here.
Yeah. I'll be a little bit devil advocate. I'll say that West Ham will get a point out of them.
Interesting. Yeah. Okay.
Which could be really vital to West Ham's survival.
Yeah, it could be huge.
Southampton haven't got anything to play for. Man United, I think, will just be better. Crystal Palace are abysmal at the moment, so that's that done. Leicester will be a difficult game, but I think if you're going head on head, like we say, Leicester are going to fall short. West Ham, though, I think might draw a point out of them. I think 4 games, they might be getting tired. Also, you've got the FA Cup semi-final as well. True. So I'll give them 10 points, but I think that makes them finish third, doesn't it? Let's get the table up and see with with
So
what
so
we say.
so with our predictions, we predicted. So for me, Chelsea would finish on 64, Leicester would finish on 61, and United would finish on 70.
Wow.
So it will be Leicester dropping out, Man United getting third,
Mm.
and Chelsea getting fourth.
With me, Chelsea would finish with 67 points. Leicester would finish with 61, and Man United would finish with 68. So
Yeah.
pipping it by 1 point, third spot. But we're both saying Leicester to drop out of the Champions League spot and into the Europa League spot of fifth.
It's a shame. It is
really
a shame.
It is a shame.
But
Absolutely.
they will really, unfortunately, only have themselves to blame. Being in the position they were and then not capitalising on it, you can't really say they should deserve to have been in there when they've got good teams around them like they have. Right, so that is our top four predictions. Exciting times.
Relegation. This is going to be a bit more tricky to call, I think. We've got Aston Villa 19th, Bournemouth in 18th, Watford and West Ham just hovering just above them at the moment. Let's go for Aston Villa first. They're the ones who seem most in trouble at the moment, don't they?
Yeah.
They've got Everton, Arsenal, and West Ham.
Everton, Arsenal, and West Ham. Yeah, it's a tricky run of games to predict. Everton have been in pretty poor form the last few games. Was it?
I mean, even Spurs beat them, so
they must be flipping awful.
Must be really bad.
Yeah, I feel like Everton are a team almost on the beach now, like in that old, classic saying. They've already finished. They're not going to get Europa League now. I mean, that's pretty much set and decided. They're not going to go down. They're just playing out these remaining games and seeing what happens. And it's probably a very good team for them to have, because when you're fighting for your lives, you don't want it to play another team that's fighting for something as well. And obviously, they got that really morale boosting win against Crystal Palace. Was it yesterday? 2 days ago?
Yeah.
Which was crucial because had they not won that, I would have said they were definitely down. You know what? Just for the excitement purposes, I'm backing Villa, and I'm going to say they're going to win it 2-1.
That's a good
2-1. A Jack Grealish masterclass is what I predict, and then
that would be good. We haven't seen him do that for a while, to be honest. We haven't seen Grealish. I mean, I've had a lot of conversations recently, and people have said that maybe he's a bit overrated. Man United, he doesn't really deserve to be at Man United, and these sort of discussions.
I don't buy it.
Yeah, I'm not. I think
he could be a world class. I mean, he has potential to. He's not at the moment, obviously, but I think he is just head and shoulders above the rest of his teammates at Villa. And if he sorts his attitude out and sorts, all the stuff he does off field, then I think he could be great. But that waits to be seen. And who else was it? They had Arsenal at home and
West Ham.
Yeah. So obviously Arsenal at home. Arsenal were looking good up until the North London derby, where they didn't capitalise on which they should have. What should have been a good chance to finally get a win away from home against the top six side. But I think probably they will just have too much. They do still have ridiculous quality up front. I mean, we saw Lacazette looks to be back to where he likes to be. Obviously,
brilliant goal yesterday.
Oh yeah, it was that pick probably goal of the weekend, or was goal of the round. And then obviously still Aubameyang and Saka, I think is brilliant. Pepe, I think I think they probably score, but just have too much of them attacking wise. And then obviously West Ham on the last day of the season. It's such an interesting game because
it's such an interesting game, isn't it?
I think Villa attacking wise out of these bottom four clubs could, I'd almost with the presence of Grealish, and then I think Trezeguet's in good form as well, and McGinn stepping up there as well. I think that they've got probably one of the better ones. But obviously the defense has been so shaky. I'm predicting a draw, which means I think Villa will get only 4 points.
Yeah, I think they'll get. I think they can get a result against Everton. I think Everton are sort of, like we say, on the beach. They're not really proving themselves to be Europa League ready yet. Arsenal, I think, are too good. They'll want to prove that they're not sort of liabilities with obviously losing North London derby. West Ham, this is the game that I can't pick.
I can't predict it. No way.
I think West Ham are a bit better. I think.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they've shown it in the last sort of 2-3 games, haven't they? That
I'm gonna say West Ham have a little bit more form at the moment, and I'm gonna say Aston Villa are gonna get 3 from this.
Interesting. Okay.
So what are you saying 4? Yeah.
I'm saying 4.
Yeah. Okay. Let's go on to Bournemouth then. Tricky games, you would say. Man City, Southampton, Everton. You would hope they could pick up some points there, though. Obviously they've picked up 4 points in the past 2 games, so they're not doing too badly. You'd say they've bounced back a little bit. Obviously, 4-1 win against Leicester yesterday, which was a shocking result. Don't think anyone was expecting that. And obviously got that vital 1 point against Spurs as well. But a very poor Spurs performance again. Man City, though, too much, right?
That Man City are going to be too much for them. I mean, they've shown countlessly over the past few games where they've played relegation clubs that they're just going to wipe the floor with them. It's 4-5-0. Like it'll be so standard for them, which is a shame. But
how many goals have Man City scored in the past 2 games? Is it about?
Well, they got 5 against Brighton, didn't they?
Okay, so they've scored 14 goals in 3 games.
Oh wow,
that's mental.
That is crazy, isn't it? They're just a different beast. They're just a different beast.
And I think they'll probably add another 5 to that. And I think that Bournemouth are going to get taken to the slaughter a little bit. Yeah. I hope it doesn't dampen their hopes of survival, because obviously they can keep up, depending. But Man City will wipe the floor. Southampton, though, I think they can pick up some points, right?
Yeah, again, Southampton. I mean, actually, probably one of the better teams in that sort of little mini sort of mid-table league, in the fact that they're actually they're putting in quite consistently good performances, but a good chance nonetheless to try and get some points. And I'll back them. I'll back them because no one expected that result yesterday, so that will only give them confidence. Hopefully, they take that into the Southampton game and just forget about whatever happens against Man City, and I'll say they'll win that. I'll say they'll win that.
I think they'll pick up some vital 3 points against Southampton. I think I think Bournemouth do have quality to do that against a side which are quite comfortably done with their season now. To be honest, they'll be quite happy how they've done this season, Southampton. So they might not fully turn up. So I think they can pick up some vital 3 points there. Everton, again, another game for them. Everton will be probably looking at their fixtures going, oh, we've got the relegation teams. We can actually pick up some points. But I don't think I think they will give Bournemouth a good game. But I think Bournemouth might get a vital 1 point here as well. So I reckon after all that, I think they'll get 4 points as well.
I agree. I think it'll be I think they'll manage to beat Southampton, and then Everton will try and put in the good last day performance, and it'll be a gritty draw for both teams. So that's another 4 points there.
Watford, then, their first game is West Ham.
Massive, isn't it? It's
absolutely huge.
Huge, because whoever wins that, so if one team wins that, then they're realistically not definitely safe. Of course, you can never predict that, but they're all like sort of 99% safe. Like if they win that, because that suddenly means that a direct rival is definitely not getting any points. They'll go, hopefully, for them 6 points above the relegation zone. So it's
I'm just looking. Watford have picked up points against Newcastle. Obviously lost to Chelsea though. Are they better than West Ham at the moment though? It's really tricky.
They've won their last 2 games, but that's playing Norwich and Newcastle. And again, Newcastle, another team on the beach, so to speak. So I don't really think you can look too much into that. Obviously, possibly winning mentality now, like winning breeds confidence, etc.
Is it? Is it at West Ham or Watford?
It is. Let's have a look. I believe it's at West Ham. It's at West Ham. So it's so tricky to predict. I'm gonna say West Ham are gonna win it.
Yeah, I think West Ham are the best team out of the lot at the moment. I don't know why I'm thinking that, but I just think they've got that little bit of Premier
A
League.
little bit of quality and Premier League experience. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think that they'll probably edge just 1-0. I think it's gonna be a really gritty game.
Tight.
I don't think either team will want to give anything away.
No.
But yeah, I think whoever wins this is pretty much safe. But that if Watford do go on and lose, if we're saying so, they've got Man United and Arsenal.
You see, this is why that game is so huge as well, because they've suddenly got then 2 games where they're definitely not like bookies odds that they'll be miles down to win the game, and for sure we'll be going into it underdogs. Man United, as we talked about.
Oh, sorry, it's Man City.
Man City. I'm not sure if that makes it better or worse, but it's not good either way, is it?
No.
Look, Man City are going to win that. They just will, and then Arsenal. You see, it'll be classic Arsenal. It's like to say, like, let's say Bournemouth get ahead of them, and Bournemouth are just asking Arsenal to turn up for once, just for pride's sake. And then Watford managed to win. I think Watford are going to get a point out of Arsenal.
Yeah, I agree. I think Arsenal obviously will still be trying to keep up with the Europa League spots. I think that will be a battle till the end as well. But I think Watford are just that sort of team that Arsenal always sort of just seem to struggle against. You would expect Arsenal to beat them up, but it won't happen probably. So I reckon after all that, Watford haven't got easy games, but I think they'll lose the crucial one. I think they'll only walk away with 1 point.
Yeah. Wow, that's so interesting, isn't it? Because now we move. Let's just quickly go through West Ham's games. Because they
Watford
might not be. Watford, we've said we think they're going to nick that 1-0.
Yeah.
Then they've got, who is it?
Man United.
So they've got Man United, who obviously, as we talked about, they're going to be too strong for them. I think the way they're attacking. And then lastly,
Aston Villa.
And then obviously the last game of the season as well with Aston Villa.
Yeah.
But I think by that time, they're already going to be safe.
Yeah.
And because they'll get that win. So I think they're going to get the 4 points, finish on 38.
I'm going to give West Ham 6 points.
You're going to give them 6? Okay,
I'm going to give them 6. I think they're going to beat Aston Villa and Watford.
Okay.
Okay, so let's just figure out what that does then, because that could have pushed Watford down.
That's what. Well, this is the really interesting. I was just thinking in my head whilst we were speaking there. So Aston Villa, I said, would finish with 4, didn't I? So that would mean they're on 34. I said Bournemouth would also finish with 4, so they're on 35, and Watford, in my predictions, will only get the singular point, and they'll finish on 35 as well.
Yeah.
So then it's down to goal difference. Oh, imagine if one of them goes down on goal difference. And goal difference up until yesterday, like Bournemouth looked gone, but they've got now a +3 goal difference, which could be huge for them. Winning by a big margin is massive. So they're only 3 away. Yeah. It depends on if they beat Southampton, how many by, etc.
So I think we're saying Aston Villa, even if they, pick up 3 to 4 points, are probably
unfortunately, I think Villa are going to be gone.
By 1 point, by 1 point though, so it's a bit unfortunate, but that's just how it is. Bournemouth and Watford have got to really tussle it out for the final game. I think it will be great if it goes down to goal difference, wouldn't it?
Imagine getting relegated on goal difference. It'd be so exciting.
Imagine getting relegated in goal difference. Oh, that must suck.
I really imagine like them playing on the final day of the season, knowing that they're like on the same amount of points, and it's just whoever can win by the most or lose by a certain number of goals to know won't be getting relegated. That would just be so fun to watch, possibly.
So we're saying Aston Villa are going, but I don't think we can really comfortably say who's going to be 18th.
I think
it's going to be Bournemouth or Watford. That's what we're saying. It's going to be Bournemouth or Watford.
I'm predicting it's going to be Aston Villa, Bournemouth, Watford, or West Ham that go down. It's just a crazy thought. It's just a crazy thought, but I think that's what I'm going with. Look, I think we can say we can both say with our predictions Aston Villa will go down, and then we predict Watford and Bournemouth are going to be on the same points. So then we don't know what's going to happen with goal difference, etc. But we're predicting it's going to be exciting, which is what I'm hoping for.
So with that, humour me for 2 more seconds, Alex, because I just want to talk about these two fixtures with you. And they're quite interesting ones. Burnley Wolves.
Yeah, Burnley Wolves. So
this is a game coming up this week, and we're just going to go for a couple because these are the Europa League key games that are coming up. Burnley Wolves, a big fixture.
Look, but I've been so impressed with how Burnley as a club and how as a team how we bounced back from that initial loss against Man City, as I talked about in the last podcast. Look, great, like fantastic defense. First of all, like all our defensive players have stepped up. You know, got clean sheets left, right, and centre. Then getting a brilliant point away at Liverpool. You know, Liverpool won every single game at home apart from us this season, which show it. It tells a lot. I mean, and you know what? What one thing is really nice is that since the rumours about Sean Dyche have come out, it's so clear the players are playing for him. The players are standing up and saying, "Look, we want this guy to be our manager. There's no way we can let him walk or let him go." And they're really standing up and saying, "Yeah, well, this is how we're going to play. Get some more people in. We could be great." And it's really nice and refreshing as a Burnley fan to see that.
You have been incredibly impressive. I have to say, I've really enjoyed watching Burnley over the past 2 weeks, and I think this is a game you can win as well. But they seem to stutter. They're good, but they stuttered against key games. You know, Sheffield United they lost. Arsenal they lost. So I think Burnley can pick up another of your classic 1-0 victories here.
Yeah, I think we're going to win it, and because it's a very similar game to the Sheffield United game, and Wolves' quality when playing a team that doesn't necessarily attack so much, so they can hit us on the break, etc. We play in a very pragmatic way, and everyone knows their roles, and we do it really well. And I just think we'll have the edge, and I'm going to say. Yeah, I'm going to say a 1-0. As you said, I think defensively we've been brilliant. I really, really, for Nick Pope's sake, want him to get the Golden Glove because he deserves it, man. I mean, we'll get onto a short discussion about England goalkeepers in a second. But look, Nick Pope's been brilliant. Without him this season, I really don't know where we'd be. But we've got him. We've got him. And I'm so happy and proud to say he's our goalkeeper because he keeps on performing it to an unbelievable level, keeps us in matches, and we end up going on to win them.
He definitely kept you in that Liverpool match.
Oh, some of the saves, honestly, it was like Spider-Man in goal. He couldn't be stopped, man. I'm going to say a 1-0. I'm going to back the boys.
Yeah, I'm totally with you on that one. Another final game for the week coming up that I think is key is Sheffield United against Everton. Doesn't sound like a thriller by any state of the imagination, but I think it could be key for Sheffield United because I feel like Everton are the type of team which they'll falter on. For some unknown reason, Everton just seem like they'll turn up that day and give them a hard time. I don't know why I'm thinking that.
Yeah.
But it just feels a bit like that to me.
You just never know what Everton are going to turn up, do you, really? Like, it could be the one where, you know, Richarlison and Calvert-Lewin play brilliantly and then suddenly they're 2-0 in front before you even know it. But they just seem really lackluster all of a sudden after that win against Leicester, which was a really good win for them. But then suddenly it just sort of felt like, okay, well, we're not going to get Europa League anymore. We're not going to go down. Let's just sort of leave it at that. And which is, it's a shame. I'm sure Ancelotti will be concerned by that. You know, he's a winner of a manager at the end of the day. That's what he does. And to have a team that's mid-table I'm sure will anger him, and he'll try and get the best out of his players. So, you know, but I'm gonna look. You've got to back Sheffield. Sheffield United have been brilliant so far this season. Is these type of games which I feel like they thrive in, and you can't not back them. So I'm gonna say 2-0 Sheffield United.
Yeah, I think although Everton seem a bit like a banana skin team for Sheffield United, they'll really want to get that sixth spot. 6th or 7th spot, and it's really tricky because I think Everton are a strong team. I think next season they could be really interesting to watch, especially as Ancelotti would have been there a while. But I think they're gone this season. But I think they'll give Sheffield United a tough game. I think Sheffield United will edge it 1-0.
Ooh, interesting.
A classic one there would Henderson doing his job in goal, which he's been doing brilliantly all season. That brings us on nicely to our final topic.
That was a lovely. That was a lovely interlude, Zach. I have to say.
I did that. I totally did that on purpose. I hope you couldn't tell.
Ladies and gentlemen, that was not planned as well. This is all offhand, off script. That was a faultless interlude. Anyway, yeah. Who should be England's number one for the near future, and I guess in that you can include the upcoming Euros, etc. I'm just going to give my opinion quickly. I think as much as I loved Pickford in the 2018 World Cup, I thought it was brilliant, but no one can argue that since then, for club and country, he's got massively downhill. He doesn't look commanding anymore. He's making constant every single game. I feel like I turn on the telly, he's making some sort of silly, awful, schoolboy errors.
He nearly had a Robert Green moment.
Oh my gosh, against Wolves.
Against Wolves, yeah.
Have you seen the pictures of him smiling as well? Once he's got it, he's almost it almost feels like he's sort of accepted the fact that he's, like a meme type player now, that he's always going to be dropping the ball, and he's got, little arms and everything. So then that leaves you with Henderson and Pope, and it's a really tricky one because since we've come back, I don't think anyone can argue that Pope deserves to be.
I haven't seen a goalkeeper that good in ages. I watched Nick Pope play for Burnley, and it's just like if you manage to get through that Turf Moor brick wall of your defence, you then get this 6'6" giant stood in your way, and he's incredible. He's like the goalkeeper everyone would want. You go at school with the tall guy, you go and goal. He's perfect for it, and hopefully he'll get the God of Love, which he thoroughly deserves.
Yeah, I really want that to happen. So yeah, on current form, I think probably most people would say Pope, because Henderson hasn't quite been at it since they've come back, or they've done well in the last few games. However, look, if you look at the season overall, I would say Henderson, just because actually, if you look at what's quite interesting is that although we've actually kept a lot of clean sheets, in the games that we have played and conceded, we've actually conceded quite a lot. We've still got a -8 goal difference, and with the last few, I think it was even worse. I think it was -14 or 15 at one point, which is pretty shoddy for a mid-table team supposedly pushing for Europa League. And in comparison to Sheffield United's 5. So, in the games that they do concede, they really don't concede that many. And obviously that could be down to the defence, but obviously it's also down to Henderson, who had a really fantastic start to the campaign. In terms of longevity and how long they could stay in that role or position, you can't really look past Henderson for his age, and possible United. If he goes to United, he could be their number one, and he could evolve into the number one of a huge club like United, and not only do his confidence the world of good.
Well, and I think also if he does become number one for United, he's had such a solid foundation and such a solid
exactly
with Sheffield United, that him going into a big term Man United, he could really be the making of him, and he could be up there with the De Gea's and Van der Sars of our time,
for sure,
no doubt. I don't know what this is the thing. We can talk about this quite a lot, because I think they've all got their own attributes, and obviously Pickford has proven himself on the international stage with the 2018 World Cup, but current form is not good enough. Nick Pope, obviously amazing at the moment, and I'm quite happy to see him in England goal. Same with Henderson, but it's all down to Southgate, isn't it? Who is his number one?
Yeah, I mean, what I would say is that obviously Nick Pope's been in the England fold previously. He went to Russia in 2018. He started one game or two games and come on as sub, a couple of times. So he's already in Southgate's thoughts. I think of it that if we're picking it now, I would say Pope, just because you can't argue with what he's doing at the moment. He's keeping us in games and making unbelievable saves consistently. If I'm looking at who I think we could mould into a perfect goalie in years to come for the next Euros, for the next World Cups, it'll be Henderson.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure if that answers the question. Really, I'm a bit conflicted. But
does Pickford fall away to third choice?
He does. Unless he starts putting in consistent performances for Everton again, he's nowhere near at it at the moment.
Yeah, I think that's the fair way to do it as well, because if you're doing really crappy for your club, but you're still getting picked for international, that doesn't happen with any other player. You wouldn't pick Sterling if he couldn't score for life, would you? But
No.
we do, because he's a pretty much a world class player at this point. So you have to pick on current form, and going forward in the next year or so. I think you want to be looking at Pope and Henderson, sort of integrating them right into the squad and having them as your choices. And if Pickford wants to get back, then like you say, he really needs to start improving again, and improving quite drastically. I worry that Everton might not be the best club for Pickford, though. I think maybe the defence doesn't help him.
No, yeah, the defence has been a bit shoddy over the last 1 or 2 years. But look, I mean, he can't really he can't really argue and say I've been performing. Like, how am I getting dropped? I've been performing at a high level this season. He hasn't. He's conceded a lot of goals. He's made a lot of mistakes. And when you've got two goalkeepers full of confidence and playing well, you can't ignore that. So
yeah. I'm calling for Nick Pope to get number 1 throughout. I think he deserves it.
Let's go, Nick.
I think going into the future, he should take us forward. And
it'd be a really great story if he did, because he was relegated to League One with Charlton 3-4 years ago, and ever since he's come into Burnley, he's just been phenomenal. So it'll be really nice from a Burnley standpoint for him to get it. But obviously, I'm very happy for Henderson to have as well.
There you go. Right. That's our decision. We're going with
that's our decision. Hopefully. Southgate, there you go, mate. That's decided for you. No worries.
That's it, guys.
We're
all done. We're all talked out.
An action-packed podcast. We've in fact, don't even bother watching the rest of the matches, because we've already decided them for you. So just chill out. Football's done. Wait for the new season to arrive.
We sorted out the table for you. So just don't watch.
Don't watch football.
If you want updates, then you just need to subscribe, share, and like this podcast.
Very clever, Zach. Let's try and get. We're on. I think we've had a few nice subs in the last few days. Try and get us up to 50. That'd be really much appreciated. Enjoy. Any final thoughts, Zach?
No. Just looking forward to another week of Premier League football.
There you go. Thank you very much for watching, guys. If you've made it this far, please make sure to like, subscribe. That'd be really much appreciated. But for now, we've been your hosts. I've been Alex the A. I've been with Zach the
Zed,
and we will see you next time for another podcast. Cheers, guys. See you in a bit.
Bye.
Bye.